Hey everybody, it's Troy. Hey, listen, in order to secure the speakership for the House of Representatives, spineless coward Kevin McCarthy had to make a lot of concessions to the hard right MAGA fascist caucus in the House, most notably the 20 holdouts who refused to vote for him over the course of 14 ballots. And some never did end up voting for him, but he got enough votes to put him over the top. But one of those concessions was the ability to bring the Fair Tax Act to the floor of the House for a vote. The fair tax is something that conservative Republicans have been kicking around since the 90s. Essentially, what it is, the fair tax is the idea that you remove all income tax at the federal level, all estate tax, just every federal tax goes out the window, and you eliminate the IRS. And what you do is you replace it with a very hefty sales tax. In this case, a sales tax of 30% for at the federal level. So the federal government imposing a 30% sales tax to make up for the lost revenue from income tax, from eliminating income tax. There are some estimates that even 30% would not be enough to match the current revenue of the federal government. It may have to even go up. So, as part of his concessions to this MAGA group, Kevin McCarthy has made a deal to bring the Fair Tax Act to a vote on the floor of the House. Politically dead anyway. It has no chance of passing, probably not even a chance of passing the House, let alone the Democratic controlled Senate, or be signed into law by Biden. But the fair tax is being described as a political gift to the Democrats. This vote is a potential political gift to the Democrats. And it's not just Democrats who think that, or Biden sort of jokingly said it was a great idea. He was being sarcastic because of how good it would be for the Democrats. But Grover Norquist would agree. Anti-tax advocate Grover Norquist even called this vote a political gift to Biden and the Democrats. He said in an interview that I think this is the first significant problem created for the Republican Party by the 20 people who thought that there was no downside to the approach that they took. That's a quote from Grover Norquist, who at one time was considered to be the most powerful person in D.C. because he was sort of a kingmaker. It was said that Republicans could not get elected to Congress without taking his anti-tax pledge. Grover Norquist made all the Republicans pledge to not increase taxes or to add any new taxes. So that's anti-tax advocate Grover Norquist, one of the most staunch anti-tax activists in the United States, who thinks that this fair tax idea is a terrible idea, and it's a politically for the Republicans. This fair tax is generally considered to be a joke. It's never considered to be a realistic proposal, primarily because it is so regressive. It would essentially destroy the economy. A 30% sales tax essentially is a regressive tax exclusively for the middle class. It would charge the middle class extreme amounts of sales tax to make up for the lost revenue of cutting income tax, which is essentially the Republicans that support this plan support gutting taxes for billionaires and instead charging middle class families incredible amounts on consumer goods, making the price of consumer goods skyrocket because of this federal sales tax to make up for the tax cuts on billionaires. You can start to see why even extremely anti-tax activists think this is a terrible idea and a non-starter politically. Making middle and lower class families pay at a bare minimum a 30% sales tax and probably higher on basic goods would be a death knell for the economy. And even the Republicans that back this fair tax plan know that, which is why they've included this asinine suggestion in the Fair Tax Act that they're proposing to bring to the floor of the House, that the government mail monthly rebate checks to low-income families. Essentially, the government's sending money to low-income families to bring them up to a certain poverty threshold so that the amount of the money that they spend on sales tax won't put them into the poverty bracket. They know that this is so bad for middle class and low income families that it will drive people into poverty, and so they propose having the federal government pay people monthly rebates to keep people from falling into poverty because of how expensive this potentially could be for middle and lower class families. At the same time, they want to get rid of the IRS as part of this proposal, believing that, the IRS is a government overreach. But somehow they think that a one-time annual tax return that's chaotic at best when handled by the IRS is somehow going to be replaced by 12 monthly payments from the federal government. And somehow these 12 monthly payments, even though these people are anti-government and they think that the federal government can't handle anything, somehow they feel like these 12 monthly payments to citizens from the federal government is a better idea than just a single annual tax return handled by the IRS. Like somehow that wouldn't be chaotic in and of itself. So long and short of it, this bill stands no chance of passing the U.S. House of Representatives, certainly no chance of passing the Senate or being signed by Biden. The 20 holdouts, the MAGA holdouts, the extreme right wing may feel like this is some sort of messaging bill, or they can tell their hard right constituents that they voted for a bill to abolish the IRS, to abolish income tax. But really, as even Grover Norquist and many Republicans have noted, this gives total messaging control to the Democrats, who can say that Republicans voted in favor of giving massive tax breaks to billionaires in favor of increasing spending on the middle class, just putting the entire burden of government revenue on the middle class in the form of just dramatically increased prices on consumer goods. So just a terrible, terrible idea by these Republicans. But once again, Kevin McCarthy is so over a barrel by this MAGA fascist caucus, he needed to concede whatever they wanted in order to gain the speakership. And this is one of the concessions that he had to give them, was to bring this Fair Tax Act, which has been a joke since the 90s, sort of a Washington insider joke, something that no one believed would ever see the light of day. McCarthy now has to bring it to a vote on the floor of the House to appease these 20 MAGA members, without whom he would not have been given the speakership. So we'll see how it does. We'll see if it actually makes it to the floor and who votes for it. But one thing is certain, the Democrats will be using that for messaging, the messaging of Republicans cutting taxes for billionaires while increasing taxes on the middle class and the lower class. For MeidasTouch, this is Troy. Remember, smash that subscribe button to keep supporting independent media.
Our blue wall stopped the red wave and election deniers got denied election. That's why we're celebrating with the new Democracy Prevails team. We've got lots of work to do, but we should all be proud that when democracy was tested, democracy prevailed. You've earned this. Don't wait. Get yours right now at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.